From the nation's capital, Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce. A weekly discussion about the federal issues most important to Nevada. And now, from Washington, D.C., here's Marilee Joyce.
Well, good day to you. I'm Marilee Joyce, and this is Eye on Washington, the only statewide Nevada news program produced in Washington, D.C. Every week, Eye on Washington takes you straight to Capitol Hill for a discussion with Nevada's delegation and other leaders about the federal matters that matter to you. Today's topic, Mr. Horsford goes to Washington. We'll find out what Nevada's newest congressman wants to accomplish for Nevada and for Nevadans. And he is my guest today, Nevada U.S. Congressman Steven Horsford. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. Well, he says putting you back to work there will be the focus of his work here. And today on Eye on Washington, we'll learn of the congressman's top priorities for Nevada during this Congress. We'll tell you about his committees and why they matter to you in Nevada. And we'll find out why he believes reaching across the aisle is the only way to get things done on Capitol Hill. Congressman Horsford comes to Capitol Hill representing Nevada's newly created 4th Congressional District. His district includes the northern portion of Clark County, as well as all or part of the rural counties of Lincoln, White Pine, Nye, Esmeralda, Mineral, and Douglas. His House membership here continues an 8-year political career that began in the state Senate in 2004 and that saw him ascend to majority leader of that body. According to what the congressman's press staff told Eye on Washington before this show, the congressman's priorities for the Silver State in this Congress are, in no particular order, jobs, jobs, and jobs. And he's hopeful his legislative and his career background will help him on the Hill to help improve the employment outlook back home. Legislatively, statewide, just 2 of his job-related efforts. He authored and saw through to passage the Clean Energy Jobs Initiative, as well as a bill providing tax incentives to businesses that create higher-paying jobs in Nevada. And he says his work background gives him special insight into both employer and employee needs for more than a decade. And until coming here, he served as head of the Culinary Training Academy of Las Vegas. The academy trains unemployed and underemployed Nevadans with a goal of placing them in good paying jobs in the state's hospitality industry. And first of all, Congressman, welcome to Eye on Washington.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to have you as my guest. Now, when you were running for Congress last fall, on your campaign site, you said, quote, "Tough times call for real leaders, someone who understands the challenges that Nevada families face because he's faced them himself." You know, your rough upbringing had you pretty much man of the house as a preteen, working, going to school, looking out for your mother and your home. Tell us how much tell us more about that and kind of how it shapes your understanding of the needs of struggling and un and underemployed Nevadans.
Well, my life story is like the life story of so many Nevadans who, struggle every day to survive. People who, are worried about the job that they have and how they can get a better job. People who are worried about their housing situation. I was the head of my household at a pretty young age, helped raise my younger siblings. I lost my father to a gunshot, and my mom now is celebrating 20 years of recovery from drugs. And so that upbringing is what has instilled in me a value of never giving up, persevering, and doing what's right. And I think it's representative of so many other people that face the same challenges every day.
You know, we learned from you before this program, of course, that your top priority is jobs, and you said followed by strengthening Social Security and Medicare. And I want to have you on a show about entitlements maybe a little bit later in the season. We'll focus on some jobs today. I want to start with this. What do you as a congressman think that you can do here to help improve that still dismal unemployment rate back home?
Well, I just got back last night from being in the district, and it is very important to me to stay connected to the needs of the people who sent me here to Washington. My district has seen some of the highest unemployment rates in the state, and the state leads the nation in unemployment. We currently have nearly 150,000 Nevadans who are unemployed, about 70,000 of them from the construction, architecture, and engineering sectors. And so my focus is working with anyone from any party who has a good idea for how we can get Nevadans back to work. And specifically, it's about focusing on the new Interstate 11 project between Las Vegas and Phoenix. It's about working to bring the BLM land online with local counties to get renewable energy and new mining projects open so that we can employ people. And it's about investing in things that help get people back to work right now.
You know, I've done a couple shows with Congressman Heck on his worker training legislation and other related efforts there. Your long position as the CEO of the Culinary Training Academy, it was all about training folks to get those good jobs, those better paying jobs. Do you plan to emphasize training for those good 21st century jobs here on the Hill?
Well, clearly my background in actually working every day to help people get the training and then match them with employers who actually have jobs. That's the problem. You know, we can train people every day, but if they're not connected to the employers who need them, whether it be nonprofit employers, private sector employers, even governmental employers who need trained, skilled workers, then we're not doing what we need to do. My background is, you know, we have a very successful placement rate among our hotel participating employers, and it's because we work so collaboratively with the private sector, with labor, and with the community to get people back to work. And it's what we need to do more of here in Washington.
Okay, we're going to pick that up when we return. Congressman Horsford's committee assignments and why they matter to you in Nevada, and that's right after this.
You're watching Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, brought to you by the National Mining Association, Caesars Entertainment, NV Energy, the LVCVA, Western Lithium Corporation, the Nevada Mining Association, Station Casinos, the Regional Transportation Commission of Washoe County, and Skyline Restaurant and Casino.
America's minerals have made us a nation of self-reliant dreamers, shaping our world and the endless ways we enjoy it. But red tape often forces us to import more than half the minerals we depend on. Minerals we already have. We don't import our dreams. Shouldn't that go for our minerals too? The National Mining Association. Learn more at nma.org.
Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce is Nevada's top source of federal news on television and on radio. But if you want even more Nevada-focused news from Washington, you need to subscribe to our Nevada's Washington Watch newsletter. Nevada's Washington Watch is the only publication that links Nevadans to Capitol Hill. Like our Eye on Washington program, Nevada's Washington Watch keeps you in the know on all the top federal issues that impact you, your family, and your business. Subscribe today at joycecommunications.com. That's joycecommunications.com.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
What is HOPE? It's a community's commitment to stopping violence against women and children. The Shade Tree Shelter continues to keep its doors and hearts open 24 hours a day to offer help, healing, and hope to women and families in crisis. For more information, call 385-0072 or visit www.shadetree.org. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can help save lives.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of the priorities of the new leader from Nevada's newly created District 4. And he is my guest today, of course, Nevada U.S. Congressman Steven Horsford. Well, Woodrow Wilson once said, It is not far from the truth to say that Congress in session is Congress on public exhibition, while Congress in its committees rooms is Congress at work. Well, committees are the heart and soul of the legislative process. They're where the legislative work gets done. It is in these sub-organizations that our House and Senate leaders study specific issues and recommend courses of action. And it's usually in their subcommittees that work on a bill is begun. So it's important to a member's constituents that he or she serves on a committee whose jurisdiction matters most to the state or district where he's from. When he won his House seat, Congressman Horsford listed among his top committee preferences the House Homeland Security Committee and the House Natural Resources Committee, and he got them both. He says he wanted Homeland Security because in this time of increased terrorism and other threats, well, he believes this committee is crucial not just to Nevada, but to every state in the union. And Resources considers legislation on all things energy, as well as some other biggies Nevadans care about, like mineral lands and mining, public lands, national parks, water resources, Native Americans, reclamation, and a whole lot more. And Congressman, let's start to this. When you were elected to Congress, how did you go about deciding which committees would best enable you to serve Nevadans and your constituents?
Well, first I studied the jurisdiction of each committee to know, just as you covered, which ones best meet the needs of my constituents. And out of all the choices, the two that I have been appointed to help me do that every day for the people, again, who sent me here. The Homeland Security Committee oversees everything from border security to customs. It addresses everything related to emergency management. We will be involved in the immigration discussion, particularly from an oversight role. Of course, the TSA and airports, which is very important, both our urban core as well as our rural services. Sure. And so I'm looking forward to participating and contributing to that committee. One very large national issue, which also has an effect on us in Nevada, is the cybersecurity issue, which there are a lot of vulnerabilities to our networks and our database systems, which is of particular interest because we're trying to develop our data warehousing industry here in the state of Nevada so that we can bring a new industry that employs a lot of good people.
And that gets back to the job issue again,
That's right.
doesn't it? You know, speaking of the Resources Committee, I know that one reason you wanted that committee is because you have a very interesting district, and it includes not only the northern part of Clark County, but a lot of rural areas as well. And a lot of those issues really hit your rural constituents, don't they?
I love Congressional District 4. It's 52,000 square miles. It covers 7 counties. It's as large as the state of Louisiana or Alabama. It's diverse, from the Paiute and Shoshone tribes to the mining communities in Ely, to the ranching and agriculture. We have 3 military bases and the urban core. And so the Natural Resources Committee, which focuses on public lands, on water issues, on grazing rights, on mining and minerals, those are all issues which are critical to our economic success in Congressional District 4. And I'm going to be working with our local government leaders as well as the state legislature to make sure we're doing everything we can to give Nevada control of our land so that we can develop in a way that's responsible.
You know, talk a little bit about that newly created district. It's not so new, of course, anymore, but now that we actually have someone on the Hill representing it, when you were not only campaigning, but now that you've been here on the Hill a while, how do you keep track of so many diverse needs, so many diverse communities, and what there's very unique needs in each of your areas?
No, you're exactly right. In the rural communities, for example, not every rural community is the same. I've been meeting with Mayor Deeney and the leaders in Yerington around the land exchange bill, working with Congressman Mark Amadei, my colleague, a Republican. He and I are already working together to make sure that we follow through on the land exchange legislation that's critical to the development of the new copper mine there in Yerington. Talking with leaders in Ely. Meeting with county commissioners, the school district there, because there are some real tight budget constraints on the county of White Pine. And so I've worked with them in the past in the legislature, and we're going to continue to do so in the future. I was just out meeting with the leaders around the whole project in Tule Springs, and how we can get that legislation moving forward as well. So these are all exciting projects, and I'm looking forward to representing every corner of Congressional District 4.
Excellent. And when we return, well, he promises he's going to work with the other side. We'll talk with the Congressman about his strong thoughts on bipartisanship, and that's right after this.
Every day, thousands of people in northern Nevada don't get enough to eat. 1 out of 5 children in northern Nevada go to bed hungry every night. But you can do something about it. Catholic Community Services of Northern Nevada has been providing help and creating hope in our community for more than 65 years. By donating food, time, or money, you can make a difference in a hungry person's life. When you make your generous donation to St. Vincent's Dining Room and St. Vincent's Food Pantry, you're helping to fight the scourge of hunger in northern Nevada. In these tough economic times, now more than ever, we need to help those less fortunate. To find out how you can donate to St. Vincent's Dining Room and St. Vincent's Food Pantry, call, click, or stop by, and together we can end hunger in northern Nevada.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
You already watch Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, Nevada's only statewide program produced in Washington, D.C. But for even more news from Capitol Hill that affects you, your family, and your business, you need to read Nevada's Washington Watch, our online newsletter. In-depth reporting on federal efforts that impact you. Our exclusive Inside the Beltway column, putting a microscope on Nevada's congressional delegation. Guest editorials about what Nevada needs from the Hill. Nevada's Washington Watch, your watch on Washington. Subscribe today at nevadaswashingtonwatch.com.
This girl is very pretty. It's inciting feelings of jealousy in me. We should pick on her.
I'm insecure about some things, so I think we should put some me stuff on here. Maybe even some lies, too.
Yeah.
I just want to be accepted by you both. So I'm going to send this to my friends so they think I'm cool.
Kids bully for all kinds of reasons. None of them are good. Find ways to get involved at flipthescriptnow.org.
How will new energy technology make our lives better? Will geothermal, wind, and solar energy be a bigger part of our future? Yes. And soon it will all be in our backyard. Learn more at nvenergy.com.
And welcome back to Eye on Washington, our discussion of what the leader of Nevada's new 4th District wants to do here on your behalf. We've been visiting with him, Nevada U.S. Congressman Steven Horsford. Well, if you watch or listen to this show, I'm sure you are politically aware, and certainly aware of the recent and growing gridlock on Capitol Hill thanks to partisan ideology. Well, as I was preparing this show for you, I got a note from my guest's office. It informed me that the congressman, quote, wants to bring the spirit of cooperation to Washington because it's the only way to get anything done for the good of the people. The note came to me in response to my asking about his stated priority of getting Nevadans back to work in every area of his district. I was told he wants to find a way to get families working again and that he, quote, will work with anyone from either party who has a good idea for getting Nevadans back to work. Well, I'm sure sure my audience very much wants to believe this good promise. Last year's fiscal cliff fight likely has many of, or most of you, skeptical when you hear words like this. When Senator Joseph Lieberman retired from the Senate at the end of last year, well, he told CBS New York that compromise rarely happens on Capitol Hill. He blamed never-ending political campaigning that he believes has folks more interested in party than country. Congressman, I've been hosting Eye on Washington for a number of years, and politicians from both parties often come here telling me how they're going to work with the other team. And lately it is rare, I think you'll agree, that actually happens. What are your thoughts on gridlock as you start a career here?
Well, I come at this from two perspectives. First and foremost, the American people are fed up with Washington. This place is broken. They're not responding to the needs of the people. And that has to change. And the American people have said so in this last election. I am very optimistic because talking to my new colleagues, there's 80 new freshmen on both sides of the aisle. We just got done with the retreat recently. And from the Republican side and the Democratic side, the message is the same. What can we do to work together to move our country forward? We're not going to agree on everything, but what can we agree on so that we make progress together?
So what exactly do you mean when you say you want to bring a spirit of cooperation? Is it just that? Is it being a spirit of cooperation, more optimism of being more open-minded, to listen to more than a more rigid?
Well, it's definitely not being focused on a rigid ideology. It's about understanding both sides of an issue and working together in compromise to get something done. And that's the second side of my point is, as a state legislator for the last 8 years in Nevada, I've worked with 3 Republican governors. In Nevada, the legislature, you can't pass a budget without the support of 2/3 of your colleagues. I've worked, with people like Senator Joe Hardy and former Senator Bill Raggio and others, because I believe that that's what it takes to move our communities and our country forward.
But are there some issues in each party that is compromise possible on all issues? It seems to me there's been so much fighting and so much unwillingness to give an inch in some areas. Let me ask it like this: give me an example of something you'd compromise on for the good of and benefit of Nevadans.
I would compromise on ideas that help us get people back to work. For example, this legislation we're working on with the copper mine in Yerington. There are some interests that are very focused on the conservation piece, which I understand and agree with. But I also want to make sure that we get the exchange done so that we can put 2,000 people in Yerington to work who desperately need jobs, and to allow for the region of our state in Lyon County, which has 16% unemployment, to get people back to work. There are things that we can do by working together and reaching compromise and not holding strong to some rigid ideology.
Is there something you wouldn't compromise on?
Well, one thing I believe in is fighting for the middle class. And I don't believe that we should be balancing the federal budget by only asking those in the middle class and the poor to do their part, and not asking others, corporate interest and millionaires, to do their side. So I think that's an area where I will hold firm, but as long as we can reach that agreement together, then I think we can still get something done.
There are, of course, issues that everyone agrees about in general. Everyone's pro-Nevada jobs, everyone's pro-clean waters, everyone's pro-safe airports. It's the details that bring the fights, isn't it? And I think when you say you've been disgusted with some of the things in Washington, a bill might start looking great, and then both sides start picking apart, and then so very little gets done for the people. And is that what you're kind of aiming to change by trying to stretch across the aisle?
Yes, and again, the experience in the legislature, there are times where I didn't always get what I wanted in the legislature. I thought my idea was a good idea and I couldn't get people to support it. But in the end, we were able to pass a budget that was balanced. We were able to reduce spending while protecting funding for education. We were able to pass legislation on creating green energy jobs and other key bills. And so it's getting that progress that's so important to me.
Well, I think my audience is crossing its collective fingers that you're going to have the spirit of cooperation, but I'm probably going to check in with you to see how well you're playing with others during the year.
Sounds good.
Is that fair? All right. When we return, it is time for our mailbag segment. That's right after this.
All of us at Caesars Entertainment have something we want to say.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
We don't want you to gamble if you've had too much to drink.
You shouldn't gamble if you're lonely or depressed.
And if you're under 21, you're not allowed to play.
No, no, no.
No matter which of our casinos you come to, our message is always the same.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly.
Play responsibly. We know you're coming to our casinos to have a good time, and we always want you to leave feeling like you did.
America's minerals have made us a nation of self-reliant dreamers, shaping our world and the endless ways we enjoy it. But red tape often forces us to import more than half the minerals we depend on. Minerals we already have. We don't import our dreams. Shouldn't that go for our minerals too? The National Mining Association. Learn more at nma.org.
There are a million places you'd never consider texting. So why would you do it while driving? Leave risky driving to the professionals. Stop the texts, and together we can stop the wrecks.
You already watch Eye on Washington with Marilee Joyce, Nevada's only statewide program produced in Washington, D.C. But for even more news from Capitol Hill that affects you, your family, and your business, you need to read Nevada's Washington Watch, our online newsletter. In-depth reporting on federal efforts that impact you. Our exclusive Inside the Beltway column, putting a microscope on Nevada's congressional delegation. Guest editorials about what Nevada needs from the Hill. Nevada's Washington Watch, your watch on Washington. Subscribe today at nevadaswashingtonwatch.com.
Thanks to an ongoing commitment by America's mining companies, more than 2 million acres already have been reclaimed. To learn more about reclamation or other aspects of mining, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
We're back with our closing segment of Eye on Washington. It is our mailbag segment. In this segment, we tell you about an issue our guest is receiving a lot of correspondence about on the Joyce Communications website. We read one of your letters on the air, and then we invite our guest to respond to you right here. And Congressman, you're already getting mail on my website. This is exciting. I have a letter for you from Betty, and she says, Dear Congressman Horsford, you have a history of supporting clean energy jobs in Nevada. What do you think are the major things Congress can do to help shift the nation to clean energy usage over the next 2 years? How do you respond to Betty?
What I say is Nevada doesn't have oil, but what we do have is an abundance of solar, wind, and renewable sources like geothermal. And so those are the areas that we have to focus on. First is working with the BLM to get access to the land in responsible ways that protect the environment. The second is making sure that we do have the incentives in place for this new emerging industry. And third, we have to make sure that we train Nevadans to be able to not only do the construction of these projects, but also the operation of them.
So she said in the next 2 years. How realistic? We got something going on by then?
Well, the president talked about this actually recently in his address, that energy needs to be a focus as well.
So. Yeah.
Top priority again.
You're on Betty's team.
On the agenda.
All right. And that does wrap up this week's Eye on Washington. Be sure to join us next time as we discuss more important federal matters and their impact on you in Nevada. Visit Joyce Communications or our Facebook page for more of the very latest from the Hill that impacts your life. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Marilee Joyce in Washington. Good day.